Hey guys, what is going on? It is DaBoki here once again, and it's time for another Maplestory video. I'm here on DaBoking, and I am killing a corntail. A chaos horntail, not a corntail, excuse me. That'd be an interesting boss. He just has a corn for a tail. The myths, the legends, the corntail. But anyways, I am here just killing away at this thing, and I wanted to go ahead and talk with you guys about something because, of course, something has been on my mind, and I want to go and share with you guys because you guys have such great thoughts and opinions, and I love bouncing ideas with you all. So anyways, I've been reading a book recently, and it's called Scary Close, and it's written by Donald Miller, and it's a book about relationships and why it's so hard to establish close relationships with people, and not just only relationships as in your lover, but as in just friends, peers, your family members or bosses, just anyone that you meet in this world, you establish some sort of relationship with. And why is it so hard to make that really close connection? So there's this one section that really stood out to me, and it was the section when he was talking about how we wear a mask and we're trying to hide our inner selves. And we hear this quite a bit, just different variances of it, and it's really interesting because he actually puts it in a different way, which made me think quite a bit. So, we have our outer layer, which we're pretty familiar with, is our mask, and it's pretty common. We put up this act, we're like on stage when we're first meeting someone. It's because we maybe don't want to scare them away, and we don't want to show them our true weird inner self, and we're just kind of putting out this like fake act, right? It's something that society will accept, or it's like normal, I should say. Like you're funny, or you're strong, or you're sarcastic or something. You're kind of doing something that's lighting up the mood, and you kind of seem normal. Then under this act, the inner circle of that is shame. So what we're doing is we're acting, so we're covering up our shame. So that's something that's like frowned upon in society a little bit. I mean, shame just has such a negative tone to it a bit, and there are some like shameful acts, but then there are some things that we're ashamed of that we shouldn't really be, right? Like, I mean, I love to play video games and anime. Why is that like shameful? But when I go meet someone, it's like, I like to sit in my room, watch anime, play Maplestory with no pants on. It's like, well, we're gonna stop talking to you now, David, forever. And it's like, oh, forever alone. But it's just kind of how it is in this world, right? We kind of want to mask who we truly are. But then under the shame, that's our self. And that's like the inner circle of it all. And what he was saying, which I totally agree, is like the self is the only thing that can give out love and make those true connections with other people. It's the true self. So after I read this, it made me think quite a bit. I was like thinking, all right, so that's our inner self is in the middle there. And how do we make those really true strong connections? And it's because people that have those strong connections with others, so if you have like a really good friend, it's because they deal with your shame, they accept it, or maybe they don't really agree with everything that you do, but they accept who you are as a person, yourself, because they broke down the act, your fake little mask or whatever, you're on stage or whatnot, and they got to your shame, you put it all out on the table. They're like, yeah, that's kind of weird and gross, but okay, we'll get past that because we love who you are as a person, yourself. Those are the true connections, those are the strong connections, I think, that are really important in this world. And like I was driving in my car the other day and I was thinking about something I kept saying in high school a lot of times, like when I was meeting a girl for the first time that I was like, I had a huge crush on, and I was telling my friends, I want her to get to know me a little bit better before she knows who I truly am, so I don't scare her away. I was saying that over and over in my head in the car the other day. I was like, that doesn't make any sense because I want her to get to know me a little bit better before she knows who I truly am. But wait a second, I should be putting out my full self, right? I should have her to get to know my true self. And I realized again, it was because I was kind of ashamed, I had a lot of shame that I didn't want to scare away this person. But that's not good though, because like even though, let's say, alright, we put up an act, we have someone fall for us or whatever in a relationship or a friend, and they learn to like and love your act, your outer layer, your most outer layer, and then once that falls off, because I mean, sooner or later, we're always gonna have to just break it down, we're gonna get tired of putting up the act. They fell in love with that outer layer, and then once that breaks away, and then they start to know who you truly are, it's like, wait a second, this isn't the person that I fell for, right? The person I fell for was the act, the mask, and then now we're starting to meet the real you. So it's almost like maybe we should just open up with who we truly are if we want to establish a close relationship with someone. And that's why a lot of relationships fail, I think, is because people get tired of putting up the act with another person. I mean, some people can put it on longer than others, right? It's like maybe a few years go by, but then their act kind of falls down. You know, they're not really who they thought the other person was, and then they're like, all right, well, I guess we're done because you're not who I thought you were. So it's kind of like a really tiring process almost, because we don't want to scare away people, right? Like, you don't want to like meet someone right away and just throw all your stuff at them, because it might be a little bit burdensome almost. So it's very interesting. I'm not sure really how to depict this, and you know, he didn't really talk about it too much, but I was just kind of like wondering, where's that fine line of showing who you truly are and, you know, kind of masking it a little bit so that you don't really frighten people? Or is there a fine line, and should we always just be ourselves? But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I could talk about this forever because I love this subject. I love this topic about relationships and just making those connections with people, because I think it's so good. You know, it's like so important in our lives, and I deal with it every day. I mean, for me personally, I think myself, my act, my little theater act around, this is gonna suck to say it, but my act is what I thought was one of my strengths is actually my weaknesses, is establishing relationships with people. I think that I connect with people well, right? I can kind of like a Ditto, the Pokemon. I can kind of like mold to them, and that's my act, because it really sucks because that's not who I truly am. But I put on this act of like, hey, you know, I can kind of be who you want me to be, so we can really get along and establish a close relationship. But I get tired though, I get exhausted by that, and when that, like, the act kind of falls, then they see who I truly am. They're like, you're not really the person I thought you were. So I have a lot to work to do as well. And it's interesting because I'm learning so much about myself as I'm just kind of living this life and reading these books, and it's really cool. And I'm so glad I get to talk about it with you guys. So thank you for being there, ladies and gentlemen. I know this video has been, oh my goodness, way too long for one of these talks. But anyways, like always, ladies and gents, thank you so much for watching and listening. This has been DaBoki, and we will be seeing you guys later. Goodbye.
I feel your breath closing into mine, but I hate to think we're running out of time. But the lights out.